Hello, welcome to today's class. Today we would be talking about the 6 common errors and improvements that are required for any essay writing. We have already talked about what is the basis of essay writing. We have talked about the introduction, body and conclusion of an essay and the writing styles. Now let's start with the basic common errors that most of the students do. The first common error is understanding the concept incorrectly. So if you are supposed to write an essay on women empowerment, and you are talking only about the current problems, that won't be a good essay. A good essay would include talking about, starting from the historical perspective, talking about the current issues, the policy measures, and the major reformers who are working with the problem of women empowerment. So the very important to resolve this error is to have an organized overall view. The next common error is writing a very kind of a sketchy essay. A sketchy essay means when you are not understanding the concept in totality, you are just mentioning the topics and you are not having a detailed knowledge of it. So to avoid it, the best remedy is, especially in IAS mains where you have at least 4 to 5 choices in essay, it's the best to avoid an essay on which you do not have an in-depth knowledge. The next common error that most of the students make is answering the question in a wrong way. This arises due to overconfidence and underconfidence. So students are just skipping the words and reading into a specific manner. So the very important remedy to resolve this is to read well, mark the topic and demarcate it into various points. So when you are having different subtopics for a topic, you would be trying to answer it in a very detailed manner. The next important error that most of the students make is there are some key terms that are mentioned into a topic of an essay, and sometimes it happens that you are asked about advantages, but the word is such that you don't understand the word and you start talking about the disadvantages. So when there is a specific terminology that you do not understand, don't just start writing on a guess basis. The best way is to avoid such kind of essays and to write only those essays with the topic of those essays which you understand very well. The next common error is most of the students know certain topics and things, but they do not apply it to a new situation. That is mainly because of lack of critical thinking. So it's suggested to have your original examples, apply it to new situations, look for fresh relationships, develop insight and ideas into various topics. For example, if there is a topic, what can a developing nation like India learn from the recent economic crisis and the consequent meltdown faced by Western economies? So in this topic, rather than writing what you have read in literature and the other concepts, it's better that you can give your own perspective. As a citizen, what do you feel and what were the problems that you faced when there was a severe economic crisis in the country? So that would be a much more emphatic essay. The next common error that the students do is leaving out a part of the material. So for example, you are asked to write about, again we'll take the same topic, women empowerment. You start with writing about the historical perspective, then you come on to the current problems and you talk about reformers, but you just forget to write about the policy measures. So that would definitely pull out a lot of marks. So it's very important to have a mental framework on the things that you are about to mention in your essay. So have a proper mindset that you would be writing about, starting from the history, you will be mentioning the problems and then the policy reforms that are required. The next important thing we talk about in writing a good essay is how to improve your writing. Now, practice makes a man perfect. That's a common saying and that works perfectly in case of essay writing. So when you are writing your essay, it's very important that you practice a lot. A good way is to read the editorial section, work about ideas and reject anything that comes at the besides the topic. So be focused on your topic. Don't follow others' quotes in your own words. So the best example to mention any other person's quote is to mark them into quotes. So for example, if you are mentioning Rabindranath Tagore saying, it's best to mark them into quotes and mention that it is a saying by Rabindranath Tagore. The next important thing is when you have already written your essay and now it's time to revise. So revision can occur by various manners like addition. So for example, if here is the sentence and I have to revise it, I can make it much more emphatic by adding the word scientific. So the original sentence says the main aim of the experiment is to find out effect of an engine on marine life. If I add the word scientific experiment, it gives much more emphasis. The next is deleting unnecessary words. For example, in the next sentence, has been deleted. The next here is substituting. So I can substitute the phrase in the beginning to initially as given in the sentences here. So this would give you much more weightage in examination. Then is transposition. Transposition means moving the location. So I am just shifting this phrase using optical fibers as light guide at the end of the sentence. So I am saying a system using optical fibers as light guide was created with light. Okay, so this is one of the transposition techniques that has been used. The next is combining sentences. So if you are making very small sentences, it gives as if the essay is childish. So just to avoid that, try to make a decently sized statements, and how you can do it is by merging or combining the two sentences. For example, in the same case, we can see we are joining the last two sentences into a single sentence. So these are some of the common revision techniques that we apply while talking about improving the writing styles. Now here are some of the points that are very, very important while you are writing an essay. It's very important to break your essay into points. Wherever and whenever possible, try to mark points or write into a point-wise manner. That would give you much more marks, because examiner has to check thousands of copy in a day, and on one copy he would not be devoting more than 5 to 10 minutes. So if you make your content much more capturing, you ought to secure higher marks as compared to your colleagues. So the best way is to break down your statements into points, then use pictures and diagrams wherever possible. For every paragraph that you are mentioning, it's good to write headings, subheadings, and do paragraphing. If I start an essay from point A and end it at point B without a paragraph, without paragraphing it, it would look much more monotonous. Rather than doing so, I can give an introduction paragraph, a conclusion paragraph, and 4 paragraphs in between. So if I mention 6 paragraphs in all, it would give much more smoother look to the essay. If I want to highlight something, either I can underline those statements or I can use a colored pen. That is again a good technique that most of the people use. And then it's very important that the start, that is the introduction, and the end, that is the conclusion, should be very punchy or should be in a very strong voice, because most of the examiners who are reading your essay would be focusing on the starting paragraphs and the ending paragraphs. So in the middle, you can mention your kind of simple language with weaker points. The next important thing is those who are appearing for the first time and those who have already appeared. It's very important that you are focused and have a logical approach. For that, you need to read on a daily basis. So reading editorial section of newspaper daily is a very good practice. Once you are doing so, you are able to criticize things, and that would help you generate your own creative ideas rather than writing what you already know. It's very important to have a good command on grammar and vocabulary. It's also a good idea to think about 15 to 20 important topics in the essay, and you can have since you are predetermined that you have these ideas in your mindset, you can frame good examples and quotations on those topics. So if one of those topics appear in your examination, you are ought to secure a very good marks. Now this is a common link that I usually tell students, is a kind of link from economics MIT classes, but it is a very good link where you can understand the concept in a very thorough manner. So in this class, we have talked about the common errors and improvements that we require while essay writing. In the further sessions, we would be talking about the General Studies paper 4, where we will be solving the 2013 paper, and we will be focusing on the writing styles of those papers. So that will help you achieve good marks in essay as well as answer writing and mains. So have a good day ahead. Stay tuned for more updates.